Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, guys. I think it can be louder. Good afternoon, everyone. So this this session is about where is social media app industry heading towards? So what are new innovations? What is new thing which is happening in the space? So I had some good time with panelists even before this session started. So before lunch, we quickly had a discussion on this topic. So some of the early stage observations that we have seen in the space is one, live broadcasting is going to take a big leap in 2016. More publishing-based innovation is going to happen, like Facebook for publishing, and Facebook has recently brought Facebook Instant Article. So there are higher chances of content getting more visibility when it is getting published to instant articles. Social media at workplace, innovation is going to take place here. Organic reach is dying, and more and more investment is going to take place in mobile advertisement strategies through one-click lead generation advertisements because they would not want to drive people to the landing pages and rather want to keep them stick on to the social media channels. So more and more innovation is going to take place in advertisement and video advertisement strategies out there. Facebook is slowly turning out to become a video platform, so higher chances of we foresee Facebook as FaceTube with time. Snapchat is taking leap in India and the new discovery platform. So there are a lot of interesting observations that we had, and I will leave it open to panelists now. First question is, what are some big changes that you see in the space? And kindly introduce yourself as you share your experience with me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Moses. I'm the founder and CEO of Seven Stones Group of Companies. And to tell about my company, it's, I'll have to take my visiting card. So I stream into various fields, starting from event management, strategy consultancy, in corporate gifting, media, technologies, and construction group, and architects, and music academy, and tours and travels. And when I started with my career, it was the passion for music, which got me into events. And when I started with events, social media platform is one of the biggest platform for me to explore and to get my audience. And I would say it has almost covered my audience of 70% of my audience are from social media platforms. And not much of below the line marketing I do on every events that I organize. And through the leads from the events, I streamed myself and my company through all these streams that I spoke about now. And it is one of the biggest challenge. It would have been one of the biggest challenge if there was no social media platform was as big as what it is now. So that is a small brief introduction about me. And here we are today to talk about social media platforms.
Perfect.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julia. I work for Jump in business development. And in Jump, basically, we help companies developing the user acquisition and engagement strategy. And obviously, this is very, very interesting in the social media space, because we see that social media are in a continuous evolution, right? So if we think about how things change, just in the last 2 or 3 years, how everything moved from the organic acquisition of user to where we are standing today, we see that it's very, very important to keep an eye on the way we engage with our user. And that's exactly what we do in Jump. So I will be happy to tell you more about that later.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rohan Philips. I work for a company called Zaxis. We are a programmatic media company using data and technology to reach audiences, part of WPP. I need to make a disclaimer. I'm not a social media expert in any shape or form. I'm largely representing the buy side, the advertisers. As a group, we invest a significant amount of money into platforms like Facebook. So we have some level of insight into what's coming down the pipes, what works for advertisers and consumers. So to answer the question head on, I think if we look at the next 6 months time frame in terms of what are the significant changes that's going to come to the platforms we use quite constantly, I would kind of use the example of WeChat in China. So for those of you who've used that, it's an all-encompassing platform, which is a payment gateway. You can book your restaurants. There's a lot of automation and kind of the recent emergence of bots. So I see a world in 6 months' time where I can book my hotel, my dinner in the evening. I can make the payment through that. I can get my feedback and all consolidate into one platform. So I think that's one. Live stream, I think you've already picked up on that. That's the other one. And then further down the reality, you have VR and all of those things coming up. But I think consolidation of payment perhaps is the biggest one.
Hi, my name is Nishant. I run a UX agency called Design for Use. So I'm a designer, so I'm not a marketing, even though I understand a little bit of that. So, I want to step back a bit, actually ask you a question. There is a term which goes called Facebook fatigue or social media fatigue. That it's too much of social media usually. So I will come and so, as a designer, I like to observe the trends in behavior of users. Very roughly, very crudely, I kind of divide the apps into two parts, two aspects. So one is what we call utility apps, which are very useful to you, which more or less add some meaning to your daily lives, make it more efficient, make it better, and all that. When you come to social media apps, for the most part, yes, it has its usefulness. They are what we call in a category of addiction. You look at TV, you look at alcohol, substance abuse, and Facebook, gets addictive. And more you use it, and if it doesn't add meaning to your life, that causes stress and fatigue. And I think Facebook has, and particularly Facebook and everybody else following, have realized that. So what I think next year, 2 years, you will find fragmentation of apps within Facebook, or a suite of apps within Facebook, which will add that usefulness, that meaning. So let me, 2 years, 3 years ago, they launched Facebook Paper, which becomes your more contextual, more personalized reading newsreader. Then they bought VR, Oculus, then there's Live, Facebook Live coming in, Facebook World coming in, and bots. So what they're trying to do is that, yes, it's a good discovery platform. It's adding social connections, but it is causing stress because you're not able to actually complete the journey. Okay, so if you saw this great phone on Facebook or a great advertisement of some product or a service, you still have to click on it and go somewhere. And so there is ads, another click, another, make it more inefficient. So you have Facebook Buy, Facebook Pay. So you will start seeing this interesting thing. So, I would venture out and say there will be a dating app, there will be a work app, there will be, Facebook, the central core of Facebook is content about you, about people you know, about things you like, your preferences. So I can imagine, 20, 30 different acquisitions, different apps which go along, and bots, again, are the answers to that you don't have to go to the app to complete the journey. So more apps to complete the discovery which Facebook and other social media apps are going to do, basically.
I am Hitesh, co-founder and CEO of Silverpush. Silverpush actually helps brands measure the ROI of their offline channels like TV through digital, which includes social media. When it comes to social, the big changes that are coming to social, I think most of them have been covered. So actually, social channels like Facebook are no more a platform. They're actually slowly becoming ecosystems where you find everything from buy to content. Content has moved to Facebook. They're trying to bring in as and host the content through instant articles, so that publishers actually put their content into their platform, and they've opened the platform, basically their messenger platform for bots. So they're slowly becoming ecosystem to create and build applications on top of it, and that's where it is heading for next big changes.
Perfect, good thoughts. Facebook is becoming ecosystem, or let's say social media for that matter. So there's the next question for the panel. Marketing automation, messenger bots. Do you foresee innovation in the space across social media platforms, not just Facebook? If yes, what kind of innovation do you foresee here? So Rohan, if you would like to address this or get started.
I think I saw a good example of how this could pan out with Line. So Line fairly big in a lot of Asian markets. I think it's Japan's the biggest market. So with Line, what you're able to do right now is essentially, if you kind of take a step back, you have your real self or your actual self, and then you have your virtual identity. Your virtual identity, which will be enabled by bots, and I've already started receiving meeting invites and a lot of schedules being organized by bots, will soon extend into some of the purchasing tasks that you have. So for example, if I wanted to fly to a certain destination over this weekend, I don't want to actually go through and select my flights, look at the timings, etc. I want my bot to do that. So if we live in a world where actually bots are making decisions, purchase decisions, then the marketing towards those bots are going to be extremely, extremely different to how we actually are used to communicating to users. So in that world, I think what we will see is this paradigm of having data being shared in different ways. So you would have personally identifiable information being associated with perhaps the real physical self, and then interests, kind of objective-based data being shared with the bot. So I don't think there's any successful, scalable case studies of that being done so far. But in Line, what they've done is actually create an environment where, or like what would you call an automated house, where the bot is predicting what time you come home, what beer would you like, what your travel schedule is, and then pushing notification to the actual user to say yes or no. So I could guess, the bot says, would you like a Kingfisher beer at 8? And I say yes or a no. So that's the kind of changes we're seeing. Pretty early days, though.
I mean, I don't want to state the obvious. A couple of thoughts from personal experiences. We recently helped design the app for Makan, Prop Tiger Makan, and bots was obviously one of the features we wanted to design. So there is a bot-like kind of interaction in the app. If you experienced it yourself. But what was interesting was the traction that bot got. And I think it is not the bot, because people are more used to messaging, WhatsApp and messaging. It just becomes a natural way to interact without learning the nuances, a new app, installing, somebody talked about, your phone has room for 10, 12 apps, and that's it. And that's why uninstall rates are very high. Light apps, so-called light apps, surely the future, but bots, you can do a lot with them. And they implement the bots and they realize that the customer care costs have come down. And when they push that bot into Facebook, Messenger and all that, and a lot of people don't have to go through the barrier of downloading the app. So that's a very interesting way to do it. And second is, it's just, from a design and usability point of view, you're there, a lot of interactions on buying, especially real estate, I'm sure it's true in most other cases, is through reference. That, hey, I bought this phone, I got this broker, or I just moved into this flat, you should check it out. And how do you do that? And if bots are there, I said, hey, okay, I'm looking for a one-bedroom apartment in so-and-so locality in Gurgaon, in Bangalore. And suddenly you have options right there, so you don't have to. It's just a natural progression of the task you have started. It's simple as that.
Since they've already spoken about bots, the other part you said is marketing automation. So I'm assuming you're talking about automating the marketing on Facebook and on different social media channels. So earlier it used to be that Google was the one biggest advertising channel and everyone else played in the rest of the market. But now it has become that Facebook has suddenly overtaken the market. So Google and Facebook together are controlling the whole marketing advertising landscape. So instead of trying to compete with them, now it's time to build marketing or advertising optimization solutions on top of it. Basically, if you look in US, there are already companies who started working on optimizing the Facebook campaigns using machine learning, using AI. So this will happen because there is so much data or so much profile information with Facebook that you can optimize a lot. They know everything about you. And it's on you how well you can optimize using that data. And That's how these marketing automation companies can help.
Perfect, great thoughts. One more question to the panel here. So there was a time when Facebook allowed brands to innovate and create game-based applications for better consumer interaction in around 2009 and 2010, but we don't see much of these right now. So with panoramic 360-degree pictures, augmented reality, virtual reality, will this be the next space where brands are going to innovate? If yes, what are the kind of challenges that you foresee in this space, and what kind of innovation or what kind of opportunities will be available on social media platforms to showcase this innovation as such? So we'll start with Moses because it's one of his key arenas.
Virtual reality and gesture reality. This is something we have recently come up with. I am also a strategist of Alpha Digitech, and we have come up with a new innovation apps for event management people. So it is not about marketing the event to the clients. It's about how the audience are going to have the experience in the venue. Say, for example, if the audience are going to come into the venue, even before they come, they will know through virtual reality and by the bots that is added on Facebook, and they can get to know how they are going to enter inside the venue and where is going to be their transport desk or box office, or where is the stage located, and where is the fire exits or emergency exits located, and where is their seating arrangements going to be. And this is one of the innovation. And the second thing is, when it comes to construction field, we have also innovated something which an buyer of a flat or a guy who is going to build an apartment or a flat or a house, he will be knowing what he is going to get into even before he is going to start his work. This is how I foresee something which is going to come in future, and in social media platforms is going to be one of the biggest, base for that.
Perfect. Julia, do you have any thoughts on this?
The picture 360 from Facebook is actually called an experience. They call themselves the experience. And this is already a very big message that Facebook is sending through, right? Because we are talking about the way we engage with our user. It's not just about finding the user, but it's the way we engage with them and create experiences. So that's why it's so important to think about all these innovations that is going across technology and how this is going to change in the way we look at consumers, users, and we really approach them with a very specific strategy. We need to communicate with the user, and we need to have a very specific engagement for users. And this comes through the 360 experience, the augmented reality, and all the other advancements that we see in technology. So I think that we really see a revolution that is ongoing, and the most important thing is that we have to keep in mind that we need to engage with our user. We can't just think that they're sitting there and they will continue engaging with us if we don't engage with them.
I think it has a future because it's natural way of people doing things. So you're already taking, cameras have it, it's easy. VR, I'm not completely, I mean, they'll have specialty application just like a 3D printer. You know, everybody, 3D printer was greatest thing since sliced bread 10 years ago, and still it's the greatest thing since sliced. But it hasn't caught on. It's just because it's difficult to use. I mean, it's not part of your natural behavior, and same thing VR with all that bulky things. I think it'll be niche. I mean, I am not betting on it yet, but I may be wrong.
Perfect. Anybody else want to share the thoughts?
Videos are definitely something which can catch on because it doesn't require special hardware to watch. It just uses your smartphone accelerometer and sensors to work. So that's definitely something which can add value, but it can't add value for all the brands. It's important how content is created around it. If good video, let's say for something like a travel website where they can create a 360 view of the room, it adds value. So it depends how...
I think it depends industry is what you're trying to say. You have full liberty to ask them questions. So do you have any, the next question comes from you. Do you have any question for the panel? Yes, please.
The bigger players, the Google and the Facebook. There are quite a lot of the social media around, a lot of the smaller players, and they're not doing a bad job either. in terms of either innovating or so how do you see things like, for instance, in video, we're talking about Periscope, how do you say, I mean, and that kind of changed quite a bit. So can you name a few of these channels and what kind of innovations they're bringing in?
Perfect.
And how will that impact?
Very good question. So
2016?
I'll rephrase this question. So each panelist here picks up a social media channel other than Facebook, and what is that you feel is the next big change there? So it could be anything. You can't repeat the same channel again. So we'll start with you, Hitesh. You got lucky.
Yes, so I'm easy. So I think Snapchat is something which will catch on in the Indian market. It has already become like Facebook is scared of Snapchat in US. And that's something which might happen in India as well.
Perfect. Nishant? Anything other than Facebook?
I mean, from a design point of view, I'm a big fan of Insta, just because it's very focused and very visual. I think so a lot of these apps, I mean, there are like half a dozen apps which we have reviewed in the past, and I think the visual way of communication is coming more and more. And in WhatsApp, audio, video rather than text, I think. And Facebook has limited that so far. I think that's the reason why these small players are coming up.
Just to see, how is it going to revolutionize? Is something that...
Can you be louder?
How will it revolutionize? How are these different apps that we are discussing right now are going to revolutionize the way...
You're talking about the innovation there,
Yeah,
is what
innovation
he's
there.
asking. Perfect. Yes, Rohan. Your favorite app and...
So I think one of the applications that I've seen certainly is in marketing Thailand is where everything is bought through 2 social media platforms. So people use Instagram to look at what kind of food they like or what kind of places they want to visit. And then they book that on, I think Kakaku Talk is the platform. It's a Korean platform. So they book that, and it's kind of different platforms talking to each other to create a transaction. To my mind, I think the old world definition of social is quite limited. I mean, I consume news on Facebook. I don't share a lot on Facebook. I consume more news on Facebook. Is Tinder social? I don't know, perhaps because you meet people there. So the old world definition of kind of Facebook social is perhaps gone. I think we will see a world where these platforms talk to each other. They will have their own ecosystem. But in Thailand, I think that was very insightful on how a Western company and Asian company got together to actually fulfill a transaction.
So I think that we are noticing a conversion of information that we get through social and through search. And this is going to be what is going to be more and more important. And one of the case that is very interesting, even though it's not really social in the strict terms, is WeChat. I believe that WeChat is providing an example of what the future could be in terms of creating a new environment in which you will have the add-on of different capabilities, which are going to be search, social, chat, and many more.
So how is it you can leverage those temporary social medias to make sure a lot of people look at your brands? And one more question is Reddit. So Reddit is purely based on engagement. You cannot keep sharing content from your own company. So in those cases, and where bots and moderators control your sharing thing, how do you think brands and other startups can leverage those?
What do you mean by temporary platform?
Snapchat, the image goes off within a few seconds. So you're not sure how many people will actually reach out to it, and marketers are still trying to understand how to use those things.
Perfect. Anyone who wants to address this question?
Snapchat is quite interesting because from an advertising perspective, from a marketer perspective, when we look at Facebook, the biggest value that we have within Facebook is the data of the user. So talking about what they like, what they did, whose friends they are, where they are, that's the kind of targeting parameter we use. Snapchat, on the other hand, is actually one of those companies which says we don't want to do anything to do with the data actually of the user. We don't want to know if you're a male, female, where you are, what you do, etc. All our interaction is primarily based on the user experience of whether that's a story or a message, any of those sorts. So I think when you think about Snapchat, I think perhaps the bigger opportunity is from a creative perspective, not so much from a technology perspective, not so much from a data perspective. It's how do you actually enhance the user's experience by either providing relevant creative, messages, context, etc. So, I just started using Snapchat 3 weeks ago, and just a simple image, but words written on hand with certain kind of emoticons add so much context to that. So I think if brands start thinking about it from a more creative perspective, like a canvas, and not think about that as the same Facebook, data-led targeting,
Right.
then perhaps there'll be a lot more opportunity.
I think it's also about each one of you becoming a broadcaster yourself. And it's not that brands can't innovate there, they can, but I think it's very industry specific, as Hitesh and Rohan pointed out. It's about creativity. So as you are creative, you have a fan following. If not, there's nothing much. So perfect. I think time's up. Or we can take one last question if there is any.
Closing the floor, Sorav. Sorry.
It's up? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you so much. It was wonderful hosting you.